societies that have made dramatic progress in the 20th century, whether it's Singapore, whether it's South Korea, whether it's Japan, at the heart of the success of those societies, certain value systems that underpin how the ascendancy of that society came to take place. And worried that Nigeria was suffering a collapse of culture, we thought that we should find ways of getting a new generation to learn from the values that some people who had done some things particularly well lived by, so that hopefully we would be influenced by those values. In that regard, we are also particularly struck by a Canadian writer on the subject of leadership, who we had the good fortune to see visit Nigeria last year, a man called Robin Sharma, who has written the most interesting book, Leader Who Had No Title. And most of the leaders that make progress, that sustain societies, may not have been called president or governor, but in some particular area of endeavor, they were driven by certain values to lead in an outstanding manner. And so, of the several activities that we have at the Center for Values in Leadership, to get a generation that will begin to see beyond the instant gratification of now in our popular culture, to get a generation that will begin to realize that it is certain kinds of values that determine sustainable success. But the Leader Without Title Tribute series is designed to showcase true conversation on a subject related to the careers of people who are now over the age of 70 and who made an outstanding difference in the world within the sector they played. So we've had the good fortune, as you can see from the publication before you, of having a number of very outstanding leaders from business, from academia, from public life, that we have picked to be our model and to have a conversation around an area of their work.
A short one indeed, that has a deep root in this automotive policy. This happened sometime in March 2011. I was then Senior Special Assistant to the President, seconded to the Office of the Chief Economic Advisor. And so we had visitors in the office, the CEO of the Nigerian Automotive Council, and about that period also we had a visit from the MD of Dunlop and a few other players in the automotive industry. So we sat together one day and told ourselves, we may have here to do something about this industry, which as at that time was comatose. And so we said, let's even talk to those who are not yet dead and buried. And so we plan to make visits to some industrial estates, some that Pat just made reference to. So we went to Nnewi first. That was our first port of call. And we visited NOC. We went on a tour of the facility. We asked some questions. We had a questionnaire for him to complete. And then, after we finished our discussion, our team was about ready to depart for Abuja, and the man said, wait a minute. Did you come here because you got to know that the Ghanaian government delegation visited me last week? We said, no, that was news to us. What did they come here to do? He said, well, the Ghanaian government said I should come to Ghana. They will give me everything I require to build a similar factory he had in Nnewi, to now produce automobiles in Ghana, and it will help him to sell those vehicles to Nigeria. Which simply is to mean he recognized that the market is in Nigeria. So I put that on one side. So then I said, I'm also aware that this same government has done a similar thing to a client of mine, who in fact today is building his factory in Ghana, in all reality. And I will spare you that story, so that I keep myself to the automotive policy. So we returned to our office in Abuja, and we said, what we need to do is to see how we can ensure Innocent doesn't leave Nigeria and go to Ghana. Of course, before we left, we asked him a question: what do you want government to do? Why can't you produce EMAs like most of these celebrated automobile manufacturers around the world? He said, well, I don't have access to cheap funds, that is one, and then I don't have guaranteed market. I said, okay, you know what? We have no influence on the cost of funds. I was then, of course, in charge of financial sector development in the cabinet. So, and that was my mandate. But we said, we have no control over the cost of funds, but if we check through, we might be able to influence government patronage. And that dates back to the first automotive policy that we had in 1993, which, of course, was reworked and revamped to produce what we have today.
Now, the first thing I will say is, Doctor had said, had mentioned something about Nigeria being competitively advantaged when it comes to the I'm looking at competitive advantage, and it's been widely put out there in the press that this is something we can do. And I mean, we are pretty much, or I am pretty much a fan of industrialization. I believe in industrialization, but it has to be done the right way. And we have to work with the right figures. We have to look at the economy. We have to look at the people, and then look and see if we actually have the strength to compete in the global economy. Now, when we look at this policy, I know that Doctor mentioned Innocent as an example. Now, when you look at Innocent, who has been approached by the Ghanaian government to set up a plant in Ghana. Now, if you look at West Africa as a whole, Nigeria is the biggest when it comes to vehicles and all. Ghana's brand new car market is less than 20,000 vehicles in a year. In Nigeria, we do about 60,000. In fact, 20,000 is overestimation. They are between 10 and 15,000, because these are figures we exchange when we meet with our distributors, when we have our African distributions meetings. So the market is not big like that. In Nigeria, Toyota does about 20,000 vehicles. That is what will be done by Toyota Motor in America in a day. So we just goes to show that we are, and the market as a whole is 60,000. America does over 100,000. Toyota alone does over 100,000 in a month in America. So when you look at it, it's all about economies of scale, and we don't really have that. And I know that even though Ghana approached Innocent, they don't have the capacity because the market is not big. And if you're saying you want to assemble in Ghana and then ship it down to Nigeria, we all know that the products, people, you have to look at the kind of products that is being produced. Nigeria, I know we prefer vehicles that we like good vehicles. We are very brand conscious, and we also want to pay. We don't want to overpay for whatever we're buying.
I'm reminded of a debate about cancer and coffee. The debate was that one institute said cancer causes coffee causes cancer, And another institute came up and said, no, it does not cause cancer. The debate went on between the two, and finally, the International Herald Tribune did a very beautiful analysis and concluded that until the two institutes agree, we keep to our cups of coffee. so I was just listening to the two on both sides, and I just said to myself, until the two agree, we continue to buy cars that are available in Nigerian markets. But the truth again, for me, and based on the question, is that anytime I see a newspaper report that says that we want to manufacture, quote unquote, Nigerian car, my first reaction, quite honestly, and this is a confession, is to say to myself, these people are not serious. You know, and I keep saying, is it what we should be focusing on? Why do you want to manufacture, quote unquote, a Nigerian car that probably will take you thousands of years to be able to compete with the types of cars we have around the world, and whether that is where we should be focusing on? And now that we are having this debate, I also remember that I advised the South-South governors on economic cooperation among the two, you know. And when we took a look at agriculture, we did recommend to the governors that we should focus on producing products that we have comparative advantage. And when we looked at Edo, we advised, or we're trying to get Edo to focus on rubber production. And what we said was that if you create a total rubber, if you turn Edo into a rubber producing state, that you can manufacture so many things from rubber and contribute and sell to car companies all over the world that need your services. Now, that's precisely what Pat Otunba said he recommended a couple of years ago. And when you compare both, the question still remains, and for me, I'm always afraid of going through a path that we tried before and failed. I need to be assured that on the balance, we are not going to fail again.
Otunba Micheal Adeojo, we appreciate you all. I must confess I have a very beautiful wife, sir. I was just admiring her while I was there. Can we all turn the brochure to page 75? I would like to run through the programs we have at CBL and what they've been able to do in their various fields. And as such, we have some other programs in the pipeline that we tend to run. For instance, the Rising Stars Leadership Program.
Born on June 14, 1938, at Ilaramokin in Ondo State, Nigeria, to the family of Chief Solomon Ojo of the landlord Lisa Chieftaincy House and Chief Mrs. Beatrice Ademolawe Ojo, had his primary education at St. Michael's Anglican School, Ilaramokin. After he proceeded to the famous Imade College, or under the headship of the late Pa Adekunle Ajashin in 1954 and finished in 1958.
Then I entered Imade College, where I had my school set, finished there in 1958, and went to the School of Agriculture from January 1959 to May 1960. When I finished, I was posted to Ibadan, and I was at the Ministry of Agriculture and Natural Resources, the chemistry lab section. And in 1961, I was admitted into the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, and I finished my university education in 1965 with BSc Honors and second class of graduation.
He also attended various top management development courses, including the Chief Executive's Program of the Lagos Business School, CEP7, and the IES-ELBS Seminar on Competitive Strategy and Value Creation in Barcelona, Spain.
I worked for 1.5 years with the CFU. That was my first employment after graduation, and I went there because they sponsored my last 2 years in the university. I really had a problem paying my fees. I was feeding on gari and bread and biscuit mostly. But through the intervention of my head of department, he was able to secure a sponsorship by CFU. So I considered it a kind of payback by offering to work with them. Then I moved briefly to government as inspector of taxes in the Federal Revenue, and I was there only for 6 months. I decided to try something. So I went to the very algebra school and I asked to be made a freelance agent so that I can be selling their vehicles without any salary but solely on commission. And thank God they agreed. So as they agreed, I went back to the office and asked for my annual leave. So I went on my annual leave. So within 4 weeks, I sold 40 cars. When I sold 40 cars, I calculated the expected commission. And to my surprise, it was more than my 1 year salary in BP. So I went back and believed that there was no need to stay any longer. So I left, and when I left, it was a big surprise for my colleagues. They even thought that something would be wrong with my senses because they believed I had so much potential that they were wondering why I had to leave. But I've earlier stated to you why I had. So, that's how on August 1, I started Elizabeth Independent Agencies.
In fulfillment of his resolve to establish his own organization within 10 years of graduation, Chief Micheal Adeojo abandoned the certainty of a plum colonial job for the uncertainty of private enterprise. The result was the establishment of Elizabeth Independent Agencies, a family business co-founded with his late wife, Chief Mrs. Elizabeth Wuraola Ojo, in August 1971.
Independent agencies in the sense that I was selling not only anti-Briscoe products, I was selling anything that my customers demanded. So I was able to sell Volkswagen, Dodge Avenger, and Nissan. So after I reviewed the situation again, I discovered that I was wasting too much time trying to get these other vehicles. So I decided, why not concentrate on Toyota? Then I made that decision and limited my activities to Toyota alone. So I was very successful in this. Even though I was an agent, within 2 years, I was selling as much as the dealers were selling. So after about 2 years, and then went to them and said, look, I'm selling this much. The dealers who have appointed who will give 10%. Some of them are not as good as myself. So why can't I be a dealer? They considered it and granted me dealership.
This was later incorporated into Lizard Nigeria Limited in 1973, a company dealing in motor vehicle sales, spare parts and services. This business has remained an unsurpassed success in Nigeria's automobile industry to date, thus corroborating John Scully's famous statement that the future belongs to those who see possibilities before they become obvious.
I started that business on August 1st.
It's very funny. You know why? Being asked to present this type of thing to one bosom friend. We have been together since 59. And I can testify the fact that everything he has said is complete truth. Nothing but the truth. So God continues to help me. I have the privilege and honor to present an award to you and its visitors. Award of excellence to an exceptional leader.
You give me an electrifying E. If you're ready, give me an electrifying E. Give me a loud L. Give me an incredible I. Give me a zillion Z. Give me an automatic A. Give me a dynamic D. Give me an elegant E. Together we cut. Congratulations once again. Take the knife down. Take it down. Go down the mountain before Zerubbabel. And I invite Dr. Lwtvideo to please help us to propose the toast. Dr. Lwtvideo, former Commissioner for Health and former Commissioner for Education in Lagos State.